Welcome, everybody. It is Monday, which means it is time for the Troubleshooters. Hi, everybody. We are back and officially doing an episode tonight. We're not playing Card Hunters. Sorry if you're here to see Card Hunters. We're going to break your heart. We're actually playing D&D tonight. So, yay for us. Announcements. We have a lot going on. So, they've already announced Winter Fantasy February 2nd through the 6th. I will be there in person running games. I think I got to go double check and make sure I signed up. Anyways, I'll be there officially running games in some capacity or another. And then in April, I will be here in Huntsville running games at the Comic and Pop Culture Expo. I always get them confused. But it is the Comic and Pop Culture Expo. I will be running games in the Analog Gaming Room. And then in May, the first ever RPG Con will be taking place in Huntsville. Your boy, right here, this guy, will be running games. And depending on how things go with talks with Baldman Games, who I've worked with, it might be Dire Bear's first outing as professional DM to run the entire convention as far as like the seated D&D play. So that means that I would need to have DMs ready to go and sit down, know what everybody's running, which is terrifying beyond all fucking belief right now. Luckily, I've had a little bit of practice at it, but we'll see what happens. So here's to kind of hoping that Baldman Games says, yep, we're going to do it. Because if they don't, I'm going to have to go and scramble. That bear from the Disney cartoons where he's like running one way, but his head's going the other way. And then they flip and his head's going this way, but his body's running this way. Anyways, that's what I feel like sometimes. So again, February, up in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I will be there running games for Winter Fantasy. Come play D&D in the snow. Not literally in the snow, but like while it's snowing outside. Because it was glorious last year. It fucking snowed and it was nice. And we were all inside this wonderful temperature controlled atmosphere running and playing D&D. And then April, I will be back in Alabama at the Pop Culture and Comic Expo. Nope, Comic and Pop Culture Expo. Got them flipped around. Hi, Charlie. And then in May, we will be running for RPG Con. So let's talk about what we had coming up. But first, thanks to D&D Beyond for their continued support and allowing us to use their tools. Don't forget that Fizzband's Horde of Dragons is out now. And coming up at the end of this month is the Curriculum of Chaos, Strixhaven Curriculum of Chaos, which I normally am like the MTG book, the Magic the Gathering books, whenever they cross them over with D&D, they're not their best sellers, but there is some things that come out of them that I enjoy, like the Loxodon that came out of Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica, because that was a really cool. You had this elephant race, then you had the Leonin and the Satyrs races that came out of the mythical Odysseys of Theros. Coming out of Curriculum of Chaos is a new race of owl people. So you had the Harengon with Wild Beyond the Witchlight, and you can play an owl folk with Curriculum of Chaos. So I am looking forward to that. I like new races, and I'm not a big fan of the Aarakocra. I don't know why, because I don't know. I just have a big problem with Aarakocra. But I like Humblewood, and I like all the avian races in there, and I love playing a Kenku. I'm actually playing a Kenku Ranger on a Sunday game with my friends. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Also, because we were talking about it here in the old chat room before you guys, or in the call here before you guys came on. Q. I'm thinking seriously about putting that back together. So there might be something up in the future here soon with us, at least maybe on Monday night, maybe on a different night, but I'm bringing back one of the most interesting adventures that we ran. It is not D&D, I'll say that much. And for those of you who have been with us for a while, know that as big as I am with D&D, there are only a handful of games that I have run on this channel that have not been Dungeons and Dragons, and one of those was a little space-based game. So we're probably seeing that again in the future. I'm really considering that. If that comes to fruition, I will be putting out a casting call for anybody who wants to play with us. Don't worry about not knowing the rules. That will be all explained. It's all dice. There's dice-based rules to it, but it's pretty easy to go. If I'm not mistaken, it was pretty easy for you guys to catch on to and roll.
At least for the most part, yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
It was a really good storytelling sessions. That's what it was really all about. It was really good storytelling system. And I might look at using instead of using those rules, using a Genesis rules. Have you ever? If none of you have ever played with the Genesis systems, that's what they use for fantasy flights, like their Star Wars games, and it's more narrative storytelling or narrative game sessions. You have dice that resolve successes and failures, and then there are like complications and accomplishments that you can actually like roll on the dice, and it's neat. It uses a really neat dice system, so I might look at that because that would be a lot of fun, especially for like more collaborative storytelling type stuff.
Didn't you
All
tell
right.
us whenever we first started playing that if we made our own characters, there's a chance we could have died in character creation?
Yeah, actually, yeah. Um, Absolutely, you can die in creation. So the system that we used was, oh my gosh, my brain just forgot what it was called. God, it's a really great system too, and I just forgot it. But if you follow the rules for the character creation as they're outlined, there are events that happen in your life that could actually aid you because, like, you stay in college or you stay in this position for so long, or you literally can die because you were military and you got shot to pieces or whatever it is. So, yeah, if you would have been rolling, it would have been it could have been bad, but I didn't want you guys to go through that, so I did all the character creation. They're probably still somewhere around here. Yeah, it's gonna kill me until I remember what that's called. Uh, I'm gonna look it up and it's gonna tell me in a second because I'll remember. Because now I'm gonna be stuck on that until I look at it. No, 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 that's okay.
We need to know for science.
Yeah, for science. That's what started us on all this. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh God, this is gonna murder me. I'll keep looking and come back around to it in a minute. In the meantime, though, Traveler. That's what it was called. Traveler. Traveler is a great system, but like I said, there's a chance that you could die in creation. So, anyways, so recapping RPGs that are conventions that are coming up, possibly leaning towards it, doing a revitalization of Alone in the Void. So for those of you out there who know or don't know, there you go. And then we also have more shows this week. We have Tuesday night and Wednesday night and Thursday night and Saturday night, as far as I know right now, and Sunday night. So there's plenty for you to see. If you're not a fan of me, which happens, if you're not a fan of me, there are plenty of things out there to watch. JT on Wednesday nights is doing a fantastic job introducing some really neat ideas with which Otter and I were talking about earlier. So really great show, and I love all the characters and all the people in there. Sundays is a lot of fun. They said they had a rate of 15 people last night, so that's fantastic news. And then we have Tuesday nights with Jason. They're actually wrapping that one up soon. and he'll be taking a small break before launching into their next game, which, God, don't remember what it's going to be right now. I'll have to look and see. It's not Traveler, though. And then Thursday nights, Maddie's doing a great job with her homebrew. I do know that they're going to be taking a bit of hiatus after this month, so keep an eye out for them. And then we're on episode 6 starting tonight. That means we have 6 episodes left before we take our break for the new season, unless I decide to kill everybody and call it quits. The look on your face is just worth saying that aloud. What? Okay. I won't do that then. No.
You know, we keep touching weird magical things. It's bound to happen.
My goal is to get everybody packed magicked up. Just everybody's in touch with a warlock now. Everybody's something with levels of warlock. Yep, but they're all like with their own agendas, and so it puts the whole party in opposition of one another as they try to accomplish whatever it is they're trying to. Except for Gratz. Gratz just wants to have a good time. So speaking of the Troubleshooters, though, last episode they defeated their nemesis. Congratulations. So it seems. But he left behind a teleportation device, a ring that seems to lead to somewhere that you're not sure, but it doesn't seem to be of this plane, according to your elven friend. More importantly, whenever you got back to your base of operations, you got in touch with Darvin, and you asked him for a simple request to restore Gratz to his full potential. Richard, as we've called him. He agreed and restored the demon, the Lord of Lust and Desire, the Demon Prince himself, back to his full status. And he then told you, yes, I can tell you exactly what those go. But
I thought we were trying to get Calm out of the rock.
Calm is restored to you as well.
That's right. Sorry, I forget. I have a very bad memory for this sort of thing.
It's all right. Colm has been restored as well to himself.
Colm was real confused when Richard was not Richard.
Yes, because it was Gratz that freed him from the stone. With all of that being said, and with no real direction to go, hopefully that's what they'll find out tonight, let's start this episode of The Troubleshooters. Welcome back, everyone. And as you can see, we are down one party member. We hope that they are enjoying their mini vacation up in the land of the Midwest. Otter is with us, but not on camera, so he is there with us at least to be able to play with us this evening.
Town complications. It is what it is.
That is true.
Glad I could be here.
We are glad to have any and all of you here. So, Gratz freed Colm from the stone. You have a teleportation ring that goes somewhere. Where do we want to start with? And I will ask you, party, starting with Gratz's minion and pact mate, Imrus. Jesus, I almost called you Quentin. But not because of your name, but because of all that we were talking about. So.
Yeah.
So, Imrus.
What do we want to do? Where do we want to go? That's the question.
What do you want to do next? You've defeated your nemesis, the Directorate still being, as far as you know, the Directorate, a fascist regime.
I think it's time to retire. We've defeated our enemy. I'm kidding. I guess that is the next question. I mean,
Season 3, retirement.
Yeah, we gotta
Season
we'll,
4.
We'll
The
fix
after
this. We'll
party.
fix this building up. We'll start our own little shop. I mean, I make a mean cup of tea, like in a tea shop, I
A
guess.
tea shop.
Tea shop by the sea. The sea tea. I don't know. TC? I'm thinking too hard on it.
Tea by the sea?
Tea by the sea. That's a good one.
There you go. Tea by the sea.
I'm gonna write that down in my notes for later. When Emrys does actually live his life outside of whatever he's doing. I guess that is like the main question. I don't know where we're going. I mean, looking at Grost, is he gone? Is he gonna stay physical where everyone can see him? Is he gonna start tormenting me again by just being the only one I see?
He's physically there right now, as far as you know.
That's true. I'm gonna have to keep an eye on that just in case I start talking to him and everyone's like, what's going on? I know there was talk of leaving town at one point for Moonin. I hate being first. I don't know what we want to do. Do we want to check the teleportation ring? I know at one point we have to try and get our stuff, well, at least Gej and mine's stuff from the Directorate, but I still don't know if that's safe.
And it's in London.
And, yeah, and it's in London.
And it's pretty far away.
Yeah. I don't know. Moonin? Liz? What are we doing now, I guess?
I mean, considering that we think that we defeated Peter, the Directorate should be fine, considering, and we should be able to get our jobs back. Maybe. So we could go get your stuff. I mean, that seems as good a plan as any.
I mean,
Well, we don't exactly know how far his influence spread while he was there.
true.
Probably should put a feeler out before we show up in London.
Yeah, we're gonna show up and get arrested, and I don't think Wet Pants is gonna do me well for round 2.
Not against all of them.
Not against all of them. I don't have enough pants for that.
I wouldn't mind getting home to check in on my family, but it's kind of out of the way at this very moment.
It's
Do
out of its
we-
way as in another country.
Yes. It's quite some travel from here still. We're closer than we would be, but still pretty far. Do we want to investigate where this ring goes to see if there is a larger problem we have to deal with?
That's true. Looking at Grost, do we have to take the ring to find out where it goes, or can you put feelers out or something, maybe, to see where it is?
I'm sorry, do I look like the seedy underbelly of some backwater town? I don't put feelers out. I'm not Darwin. I have class, first of all. Second of all, I can tell you where it goes. But to understand where it goes, you're gonna have to take that trip down the rabbit hole yourself there, Alice.
All right. I'm not surprised by I'm not surprised by that response. You know, it's actually good to have you back, Grass. Like this.
Yes, well, I didn't much care for being Richard.
Oh, but the house wife sort of look did suit you.
Do keep in mind that I can torture you, and will.
I know.
Oh, good. As long as we're on the same page. Let the torment begin. My best bet is to tell you to ask Holm what he thinks.
It's all of us just turn and look at
Everybody just turns and looks at Colm. Yes.
Well,
I would need to see the ring. And has anyone seen my accordion briefcase? I do miss it so.
When he popped out of the
Did he not
item,
have it with him?
he did not have it.
That's correct. He did not have it. I'm. If you will take me to the ring, I'll do my best. Perhaps with our allies' help, we can find some answers. I'm not sure, though. It's possible that it could lead nowhere. It could lead back to London. It could lead into the middle of a void.
Well, do you remember where your bag was, or your accordion was last, before you were taken?
Before I was waylaid in an alleyway, it was on my side. As I was walking about, and he tells you, like, roundabout where in the city he was walking. As I was walking through there, on my way to see my parents, I was bagged and taken, and the next thing you know, I was in this confining place. I really couldn't move, but it wasn't uncomfortable. I just couldn't, like, move around. It was very disconcerting. And then you guys found me, and here we are. My suspicion is that if it's anywhere, it's back in that alleyway. Unless, of course, somebody has decided that they wanted to upturn it, shake it, and see what's in it.
Why don't we go to the alleyway first, and then we go to the circle?
I'm gonna give both of our clerics a good look over. Maybe a rest first.
I could have a cup of tea and a book. That sounds lovely.
Emerys, are you doing well? Maybe you could escort me? I think the sooner that we get that accordion briefcase back, the better off we'll all be.
yes, I'm well fine. We can go.
Marvelous.
Might do a change in appearance, but very willing.
Munin, would you escort me as well, or are you going to stay here with your allies?
Out of sheer curiosity and mild distrust over finding Colm that was not Colm, does he seem to be himself? Do his mannerisms
Give me an
and
insight
such
check.
seem to match up?
Yes, give me an insight check.
Not that I don't trust you, Colm, but also, like, we've had a time.
My insight is 11, but my passive is 15.
Okay.
Insight. First roll of the night is a 17 plus 7. 24?
He seems like he's gone through an ordeal, and so he is, like, humming off of that. But overall, he seems like himself. I mean, he seems like he's shaken up from the ordeal, but...
Okay. Just kind of giving him I'm not trying to obscure the fact that I'm giving him a good look over.
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling still okay from that encounter. Just Liz and Gej had a bit of a rough go, and they used a lot getting us to finding where you were.
I appreciate all of your work in locating me, and I can't thank you all enough for all that you've done. And I appreciate all of you.
We're glad you were not harmed.
As am I.
Liz just goes, I am not great, but I in a fight right now, so nobody can die. But I still have my sword, and I still have some potions, so I'm happy to go because I don't really want anyone to die without me. That sounds like a terrible time. So
No. Stay here and rest.
We don't
We
plan
won't
on
be
getting
long.
in any fights, Liz.
I'm going to use a tactic that's been practiced for years and ages and generations, and it's called running away.
do we ever plan on getting in fights?
I was thinking the same thing.
I mean, I usually plan to not really get into
No.
fights, but
I will say that you did plan to fight Peter Dietrich.
Just not so.
No, we planned to find you, and then Peter just showed up.
That's fair. Right. So we'll be back shortly.
mm-hmm.
With that, Moonin and Emrys, he escorts you out of the building and towards the eastern side of town, past where you guys have been staying at the Copper Pot, or the
Sure.
Copper Tap.
Can I throw one thing in there before we leave?
Mm-hmm.
I would like to kind of glance at Gratz while we're leaving, and using my inside voice. Are we still having that talk before we start hopping places?
I believe it. I believe it would be necessary for us to have that talk. So yes,
Lovely.
we shall. Toodaloo, have fun finding your lost baggage.
I forget, does Moonin also have locate object or no?
I mean, at this point, Gej and Gratz are the only two that know this, but I have an inside voice and I can do minor illusion.
Okay. Liz is going to insist on coming with you because she has one more locate object. So as long as she's gonna just come, she's gonna come with you guys just in case.
You watch as Calm looks at you, and when he levels his gaze at you and speaks, there is a presence in his voice that broke or no argument with you. He's telling you no, stay. And I need you to give me a wisdom saving throw.
Nat 20 on that, so 28.
Okay. You know he used magic on you to compel you to stay.
Colm, I'm not entirely sure if you're trying to do this as a friendly gesture or not, but the fact that you are insisting that I stay is definitely cause for suspect, and I'm definitely not leaving my allies now. So I'm coming with you.
Fine. Which would not be much good to us if you're down to your last spell slot. If you're down to the last bit of wire that you have, and if there is something that's out there that's going to cause us harm and trouble, I would rather have a firearm and somebody else who can run away and get help. Nothing
Can I
personal.
offer
Members.
another option?
Yes.
What if the two of us, well, the three of us, Emrys, Colm, and myself, go and search the area where he lost it last? If we do not find it, we can search via magical means come the morning, and that way everyone will be at tip-top shape in case something does happen. For now, this is more reconnaissance than it is tracking.
That's true, but he just used magic on me, and now I don't trust him at the moment. So, you know.
Well,
I don't
his
care about
mannerisms do match. He is breathing. I trust this Colm, at least by his demeanor. You do look pretty tired. I don't blame him for asking you to rest. We had a hell of a day, and the both of you took the brunt of it.
And last I checked, you're still my subordinates.
Well, as much as I'd love to agree with that, I'd rather just... We find the spot. Moonin can stay with Colm. I'll go in, under disguise. If I cannot find his briefcase, I will return to the two of them. We have no need to all be there. Colm, you're already going to be... Well, if Peter wants... And is... I don't think he's still alive. We've killed him. That's at least where my mind is. We have no need to fight.
Everybody give me insight checks again, please.
Uh, 20.
Dirty 20. 13 plus 7.
5.
5. While you're sure that it's him, because of his mannerisms, his speech pattern, and things like that, you can tell that he is severely, he is stressed right now, and that a lot of his actions, mannerisms, and the reasons that I should say, a lot of his actions and choice of words and things like that are coming from a place of that duress as opposed to, any sort of shenanigans, I guess.
He's being abrasive because he just went through some shit, more so than him not being himself.
Right.
Liz just touches Moonin and goes, "Be well," in Norwegian, and she has cast Death Ward on you. So if you die within the next 8 hours, you drop down to 1 hit point instead. She then goes back to a table and sits down and starts fumbling through her bag.
All right.
And when you do so, I will extend a hand back to you and cast Prestidigitation to clean up some of the dirt and grime off of you and say rest well.
And this is not something you've ever seen him do before.
She's cool with whatever. I mean, also, I thought he did magic shit last time that they were together when they were trying to find the thing.
Yeah, when we were at the bar, I did a minor illusion trying
right, you
to
did.
make a face.
That's true, you did.
Prestidigitation is new, but weird magical things from Moonin is just it's kind of happening.
It's just Monday. So the three of you, along with the three of you step out into the air of Liverpool. The wind whipping off of the wharf is cool. It chills a little bit, and you kind of pull your shoulders in to try to keep yourselves warm. It smells like salt and fish. The last light of the day is still waning out, and so you can see that a lot of the shops are lighting torches and setting up for the night. Somewhere in the distance, the breeze carries the sound of a violin playing, A jaunty tune from one of the taverns nearby. Colm walks briskly, his coat with the collar turned up against the wind. It flaps here and there, and you hear the sharp of the coattails snapping in the wind. As he makes his way briskly from one alley to the next, walking down the streets, only staying in the streets long enough to cut across them, sticking mostly to alleyways. As you're walking, what are your passive perceptions?
22.
13.
What was that?
13. 1 3.
13. You guys notice that there seem to be a larger amount of those who are wearing the directorate badges sewn on to armbands and slipped on.
Mm-hmm. Wands as well, or just the bands?
It seems to be like for every 4 melee or 4 directorate members, there's 1 person with a wand.
Okay.
So it looks like both are out, but you start to see groups forming together. As you're crossing through, you hear the sound of a scuffle. Looking, you can see several citizens, just normal everyday folk, trying to go about their way. And you can see that there is a group of directorate members, 8 of them to be exact, so 2 patrols, that are telling them to disperse and go home. And they're like, this is our favorite spot. We're just going for a drink. And they're saying that no, this tavern is closed by order of the directorate. You're going to find a new place, disperse, and go elsewhere. And you can tell that the tensions are getting high. Eventually, as you guys pass by, though, but as you're out of earshot of it, a faint sound of woof, like some sort of woof, goes off. It's not loud enough to really like startle you, so it's not a big explosive boom, but it's loud enough that you look back in that direction. Colm looks back over his shoulder and shakes his head and continues pressing forward. 30 minutes after you guys started, you come to a small alleyway that has no exit. It's just a dead end. He looks down the alley and says, this is where it was at. You 2 stay here and keep an eye out. I'll go in. With that, he once again sort of like tucks himself in, and he looks much smaller than what he did a moment ago as he starts walking down the alley.
They say an alley with no end? Or like just a dead end alley? No doors or anything along walls?
Not that you can see.
Kind of just I lean over to Moon and just, you think he just made a mistake trying to run from someone, putting himself in a dead end?
He hasn't. He grew up here. But if he was being pursued, he may have made a wrong turn.
Did he mention he thought he was being pursued? That I don't remember. I'm asking.
No, he said he turned down this alleyway, and then he got waylaid. He never said if he was being pursued or not.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Of all things, that feels a little odd to me. Moonin, just be on guard.
Always am.
You 2, are you watching like down the street, or are you watching the alley? What are you doing? Kind of both?
I'm leaning on in the like the corner, like of the where you would turn in. I'm leaning against the corner. I'm watching behind like the way we came, I would say. And I gaze there, but can easily gaze down the alley to where to where Colm is.
If Emerus is keeping an eye on the road, I'll keep an eye on Colm.
Okay. As you are watching Otter, there is a faint blue light that comes from a source behind the several stacks of boxes. It's just out of sight, so you can just barely see the blue light that shimmers.
Okay.
As it fades, it just kind of like flares and then fades again. Colm walks around the corner. And this time you can see him carrying his ever-loving accordion case. He looks at the two of you and says, "Right, I found it. I found what I was looking for. Everything is right as rain."
Perfect. Let's head back then.
I think that's for the best. But he glances behind him for a moment, like looking back at the spot where you saw the light coming from.
Yeah. Hey, Colm.
Yeah.
What was that light?
It was me saying goodbye to someone.
To someone?
Yes. Let's walk and we'll talk, and I'll explain more as we go.
Okay.
And he starts off in a snappy beat. Both of you give me perception checks again, please, or actually like insight checks as you're walking.
Insight?
Yeah.
There is also something I would like to do.
Yeah.
I guess to try. Because I do have something new because we leveled. If I can do find familiar.
It takes a 10-minute. It's
Shit, that's
you
right,
cast
it's
as a ritual. It's 10 minutes. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
When we
Certainly.
step foot, what was your insight checks?
18.
18. Good.
11 plus 7, 18.
So 18. Still calm, but there's something about him. He seems a little more relaxed, I think. A little less tense than what he did. Maybe it's finding his accordion case again, but he seems a little different. Not bad, just different. And he's walking crisply, and you can see him walking with a purpose, like he is making way. As you've both gathered by now, I've studied magic for quite some time, ever since I was a young lad. My parents are the people of affluence. They have some sort of sway over things, and every time I wanted a book, they never denied me that opportunity, and I fed my mind. I am not an inconsequential caster of some sort. I may have read some knowledge that was beyond my time, but there was a spell that interested me. It takes some time to cast, and around here you have to have a special certain thing to cast it, and so I can only cast it this one time. I did so a few years ago with the intent of maintaining it in case something ever happened to me. Do either of you know what a simulacrum is?
Does that word mean anything to Moon?
or
Arcana.
Everest.
Give me Arcana checks, both of you.
Yikes.
Okay. We got a big +0.
I at least have a +1. Oh, 19. It's not too bad for me, I guess.
Yep.
That's
okay.
That's a 2.
Nice. You don't know anything about that word simulacrum, but
Bless you.
Emrys.
Yeah.
A simulacrum is an illusory duplicate of either a beast or a person.
Okay.
You might even call it a doppelganger.
Oh.
But it is a magical construct. It's made using a lot of snow and a ruby worth considerable amount of money. It is it's a higher level spell, but you can create a simulacrum that will treat your friends and people you designate as allies and friendly to those. You don't know when he cast it, but something tells you that one of the two of them, either the one you're talking to currently or the original one that you rescued from the stone, one of them was a simulacrum.
Does Emrys or Colm explain what that is, or is Moonin just kind of like staring at both of them?
I don't know. Is Emrys going to say anything about it?
I want to wait. I don't put on a great face. Q doesn't put on a great face having to do with like hiding that I'm like, oh shit. But Emrys, I want to say, plays it a little bit better to keep the fact that he understands. I want to see what Colm is going to say.
Colm starts walking again. When we had some downtime, I cast the spell to create a duplicate of myself, a simulacrum. I knew that with everything going the way that it was in the Directorate, with Peter Dietrich taking over as Christoph Anders and everything else that was coming, I knew that I couldn't be as visible as I was. So I created the simulacrum when I was in the New World. I sent it on a ship here to Liverpool.
So, which one of you are we talking to?
Oh, the original. I was the one that hired you, looked through all of your portfolios, pulled you all together.
Not to sound ignorant, none of this makes sense to me. How would we know?
Oh, one, because if you stab me, I will bleed.
Simulacrum wouldn't?
You could do some magic to simulate it, but generally no, it doesn't. Also, if you cast Detect Magic on me, feel free to do so.
Did I do spells?
I can do magics.
I got spells and stuff. I wiggle my fingers.
I got spells for days.
No. I don't have that. What I do have is Spider Climb, though, which is no use right now. So, nope, I don't have Detect Magic.
They are not the same spell.
Nope. Cast Spider Climb on Colm. Suddenly, he's walking up walls. No.
Also, in full disclosure, as you guys are winding your way back through, he's not like just spilling all of the information out. He's like giving little bits and pieces as you're moving.
Mm-hmm.
When you eventually walk back into the shop, your allies are resting. Colm sits down across from Liz and puts the accordion briefcase on there. And he looks at Liz and says, "Do you happen to have Detect Magic on you? Are you that kind of cleric?"
She should have Detect Magic. Yes, she does.
It is. Okay. All right.
She goes, of course. Why?
So, to catch you up, because I knew that things were getting more and more dangerous within the halls of the Directorate, I decided to create a simulacrum of myself, a copy. I did this in the New World and sent it back here. I just said goodbye to it. It was as I was there in safe keeping. And they're wanting to know whether or not I'm the real one or not. I would like for you to cast Detect Magic on me.
She cast Detect Magic.
Okay. He does not appear to be glowing or showing off any magic. The item he has, of course, does, but he does not.
She responds, "Well, I'm glad to have the real you, and I'm glad that I knew that the fake you was sort of fake. So, you know, point for Liz." And then she goes back to like reading her book.
Goes back into her thing. And while I have you all here, I should also let you know that I will be doing everything I can within my power to tear the directorate down brick by brick. I don't believe it serves its purpose that it was originally there for, to help guide us all to making safe choices with regards to the use of magic. We've removed agency from the individuals and allowed them to be under the firm hand of an organization that feels it can do whatever it wants to because it controls the magic. I don't agree with it. So, how do you all feel about toppling a fascist regime?
I was all ready to tear them down whenever they took Gej and I into capture, so...
Marvelous. My simulacrum explains to me that there was a ring, a teleportation, something or other. It's definitely something we should look into. But for now, let's all get some rest. Good to see you all.
Yes.
And with that, everybody take a long rest.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm gonna go find Gratz and then go to bed.
There
Okay.
is also one thing I would like to do now that we're kind of like back for the night and everybody's resting, but I can let you do Moonin and Gratz's conversation.
Yes. He is still here. He is not faffed off. He is actually in the upper floor on a balcony that you're not sure that it was there before, but whatever.
Well, I'm gonna head out there and Gratz.
Slowly swirling a glass of wine in a wine glass. He conjures up another glass, fills it, and hands it to you as he... Moonin, it's always a pleasure to see you. What can I help you with?
Well, it's been some time, but I do believe we were to have a conversation. Hopefully, get some information. Now that you're back to your former self.
I am happy to provide you with almost all the information that I can. After all, you were intrinsic to my restoration to my normal self, and I cannot thank you enough. It was rather droll being Richard, to be perfectly honest with you. Although I might take that guy's on every once in a while. There was some earthy fun in that.
It is taking some mental fortitude to call you by your actual name when we knew you for a while as Richard, but doing my best.
He waves his hand, and his guise of Richard reappears. Would this suit you better?
Doesn't bother me either way, and a name is just that. It's a name.
Well then, Moonin, what can I do for you? You have information you're requesting from me.
Yes. I seem to have... Well, I'm sure you know of the situation I find myself in, as that's when you appeared with that weird object in the wood.
Yes, I do recall a giant void, some purplish things, and something dark and sinister in the far-off galaxies. Are you making buddies with it? Are you becoming friends and fast allies?
Hmm. I will try my best using minor illusion to mimic the item that was absorbed into my person. Wasn't really given much of a choice, but I don't know what I've gotten myself into. I believe it referred to itself as an old one.
That could be problematic. So, you've read a book. You seem the kind. Imagine if all the world were different pages. Pages touching each other fill up the book, correct? Front and back. Each side is another world. The space in between those pages, regardless of how minuscule it is, minute. Not even a speck of dust can get in there, but there's still space. Imagine that all of that space is still filled with things. Some too small to see, some of it exactly what that is, space. Just big, vast emptiness. But here and there in the space between the pages, between the worlds, live things. Their whole desire and goal, for some of them, to destroy each and every page until there's nothing but the void left. Others simply wish to torment those individuals that live on the pages. Depending on what yours is, who knows? It may want to rewrite what's on the pages. It may want to destroy the pages. It may want to just torture the little people there. But if it is what it says it is, it's possible that it might want to bind the pages together as one. That's something I guess you would have to ask it. And just so you know, yes, I am one of those things that live in the space between the pages, as are all of those things that people worship. They say that there are many facets to them all. They each have a different name, but all it really is empty space. And the space of dust in between.
There are many branches to the world tree. It's not too far off.
I like my analogy better, but yes, you understand.
Lovely. So I'll have to reach back out to it and hope for an answer.
Good luck with that. I wish you all the best and be well. Anything else you'd like to ask me?
What is a leprechaun?
Darwin. Leprechauns are fey creatures. They more of the space between the pages sort of thing. They live in a place called the Feywild, or the Feylands, or whatever they want to call them, depending on which page of the books you're on, or which branch of the tree, if you will. I believe that Lys's people are originally descendants from there, something or other, Oberon or some sort of thing. Anyways, they're magical creatures. They're usually playful and they covet gold. If you have one of their coins, like you did, you can control it. Until you give the coin back, of course.
Mm-hmm. Okay. This is a lot to digest. I think I'm gonna sleep on this information, but thank you. And enjoy your wine, wherever it keeps coming from.
Yes, I will. Have a wonderful evening.
And I am gonna go sleep.
All right. All right. Anybody else have anything they want to do? You said, Emerus, you said there was something you wanted to do?
Yes, please. My main thing is I'd like to go back out.
Mm-hmm.
I actually wanted to check out the alley where we got Colm's accordion case. But also to the tavern to speak with Darvin for a moment.
Okay. Where do you want to go to first?
Which one would be farther? The alley or the tavern?
The alleyway.
Go to the alley
from where you
first
guys
and then backtrack in.
All right, so I need you to give me just a straight intelligence check.
Eek.
Actually, do you have survival?
I think so. Let me double check. I do not. No.
Okay. All right, give me a straight intelligence check then.
Cannot read that. 17. I
Okay.
can read it.
You actually recall where that was at, so you're able to backtrack your way there, and you see again it's just this alley that ends in a dead end.
Perfect.
Behind a stack of boxes.
Yeah, basically. I just want to look.
There seems to be like a drying puddle of water there.
Okay. There's been no rain recently, right? So that's probably what Colm said goodbye to, and knowing what I know, it would make sense that it's there.
Mm-hmm.
Looking around, just kind of briefly. I don't know what I'm necessarily looking for. I'm just kind of looking.
Mm-hmm.
Would anything seem out of place for an alley?
Other than this weird puddle of water now.
Okay.
But give me a perception check, or investigation check, excuse me.
Sorry, there we go. 18.
Okay.
Sorry, you said investigation?
Yeah, investigation.
Yeah, it's still 18, sorry.
Okay, that's okay. No, nothing seems out of place, like I said, except for the puddle of water.
Perfect. Then that basically answers my question. Well, it answers my curiosities, mainly. Off to the tavern.
Appearing at the tavern. It seems pretty much unchanged as you enter in. It seems a little less bawdy, a little less rowdy.
Mm-hmm.
A little more sedate or quiet.
Okay.
When you were here previously, it was packed to the rafters with people having a good time, and all of them seem to be flocking around Darvin. As you're looking around, though, not only do you not see any of the people that were here before, but you see a mysterious lack of Darvin. Darvin McCreary is nowhere to be seen.
All right.
You see a barkeep and, servers.
Is the server that I borrowed the outfit from here?
Yes.
Perfect. Can I return that to her? I would have
Yeah,
tried
absolutely.
to at least put it into
In your backpack or something.
Yeah, keep it, make sure that it's all up back to like its original condition for the most part, at least.
Yeah, you can do that.
Perfect. I'll return that to her, but I'll actually ask as well if she's seen Darvin recently.
Sorry, love. I don't know any Darvin.
McCreary? The last name ring a bell?
Oh, there's been a McCrary here around about Liverpool for a long time now. But not a Darwin that I know of. Sorry, darling.
Thank you again for your help.
Of course. Sure we can't find you a drink? Fancy a pint?
I'm afraid not.
All right, then. Have a good evening.
You as well. And I'll give her a few more coin as well again for like as a thanks for letting me borrow the clothing, and then I'll head back
dropping
to
dropping a quid in her hand or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, as thanks. I'm hoping I didn't stretch anything, honestly.
Okay.
And then back off to the building.
All right. You arrive, and again, everything seems normal.
All right.
Normal. As you guys bed down for the evening, any final preparations or things that you would like to do before we move on?
Not from me.
All right. Otter, Moonin, your sleep is fitful for the evening. You constantly tumble, never knowing which way is up, through this endless void that seems to just move. At first you think it's a tunnel, but then you realize it's not. It's empty space, and you're being hurled outward. You feel your body come to an abrupt stop, but you don't feel any force. It's not a painful thing. It's just you stop. There's no forward momentum of your body as though it were being cushioned. It's just you stop. First one, and then another, and then a third, and a fourth, and a fifth, and a sixth eyes. 3 on each side lined up. Open. Each one blinks independently of the other. It speaks a rumble. Not out loud, but yet surrounding you completely, engulfing you. You question our being. Who are you to know these things? Speak.
Hi, sorry, back. I was running back to my computer. I could hear all of that, but I was in the other room.
Okay.
You can't blame me for asking. You didn't really give me a whole lot other than choose or die.
You are a vessel. A conduit. Another of our many eyes on this world. We will share with you power.
Yes, I do believe you mentioned that. But what?
All 6 eyes rush in to engulf and surround you, so you feel like you're being enveloped.
Mm-hmm.
You can feel them all around you looking at you. They all blink again independently of one another before pulling back, so that you're looking at them. You have to look up to see the ones above you and look down to see the ones below you, but you stare at the center too. The voice that comes out next, it's not the deep rumble that fills your brain and fills your chest. It's a familiar, comfortable voice. One that used to speak to you in the night to calm you when you thought that there were things in the dark. It's the voice that would talked to you while your mother was away, telling you that she would return soon. The voice of your father speaks. Speaking to you in the tongue of your homeland. There's nothing to fear. Everything's all right. Wrong accent. Everything's all right. Your mother and I, we are okay. We do miss you, but understand that you do what you have to do. But your mother, she's not well. Would be nice to see you. It trails off. The next voice you hear is the other comfort in your life. You hear her voice as clearly as you hear the ringing of her hammer on anvil. As clearly as you hear anything else. It starts with a laugh. That laugh that just kind of warms your heart. But in this instant, it seems to fill you with a little bit of dread. Moonin, it is good to see you. Your father. He is not well, despite his brave face. Moonin, where are you? It's like I can see you, but I can't. Where are you, Moonin? Can you hear me? May your namesake carry this message to you across whatever space.
Mom?
Wherever. A gasp. Moonin? Are you there, son?
Is it really you?
Of course it's me. I gave you your first hammer. I remember your grandpa teaching you how to shoot. You took to it like a natural. You said you loved the smell of the gunpowder.
Still do.
It's... Moonin? Are you still there?
Yes.
It's going quiet around here. She starts to speak again, but the words are garbled and break up. You're not sure what you make out. But one last thing rings, and you hear her say that she loves you. And then it sort of echoes, fading into the distance. The eyes had been closed at this time, but you watch as they open again, all 6 of them. Know that I am benevolent. I will not be crossed. I will lead you on to greatness or crush you like a bug. I will reveal to you my plan as I need to. The eyes close and you feel yourself falling again, but this time it is not through some sort of endless void. You see yourself poised high above the city, the clouds spreading and parting as you go, everything tumbling forward, head over heels. You tumble down further and further and faster. You see the building, the top, the roof coming through. You cover your hands over your face. Right as you hit the roof, your body shocks awake as you're lying in your cot. You are cold. You are frozen to the
Crying.
core and crying.
Moonen's just gonna lay there and cry for a while.
As though the world hears Moonen's pain, rain starts to fall heavy on the roof, pattering hard against the tiles, striking the stones outside in the street. The next day is dreary as Moonen's mood. Gratz is nowhere to be found. He seems to have gratzed off somewhere. Holm is asleep at a table, resting his head on his arm, dozing. And even though all of you got a full night's rest, there is some sort of weariness about all of you. Just some sort of, not exhaustion, but just like you had a fitful night's sleep.
And Moonen looks it. Eyes are completely bloodshot, just sallow looking this morning.
You all awaken in your own kind. Colm eventually stands and stretches his back. You could tell he's stiff from where he was sleeping. He shuffles out to the back room, and you hear the clattering of pots and pans and things. He comes back around and says, "I've got water on for tea, unless someone would like coffee instead. I could make either. Some breakfast, then. There's a loaf of bread here, and I can hack off pieces and cut us up some toast." Grast was kind enough to stock the larder, at least. And he sets out about making something, at least some sort of food for all of you. He seems withdrawn and quiet, as does Moonen, I'm sure.
Yes.
And as he sets down food for all of you, he just eats in silence. About 20 minutes passes, and it's just a quiet, everybody's just sitting there chewing. It's the end of the first Avengers movie. Instead of shawarma, it's just breakfast. Everybody's just sitting there eating quietly.
Not feeling too hungry this morning. Moonen's gonna plop himself down on the floor, strew all of his firearms out in front of him, and start fully disassembling and cleaning every inch of all of his firearms.
Holmes says, So there was something about a teleportation circle or a ring. He looks down at Moonin, who is currently like diligently cleaning out all of his weaponry, and goes, "Is that a tomorrow problem, or do we want to try to tackle that today?"
Liz looks down at Moonin and then back up at Colm and goes, "It's probably a today problem, but probably a later in the day. The portal's not going anywhere."
Right. Then I don't think I have anything else that's pressing today. That's something that we can take care of later. What information do you have on it?
It looks a bit like the one in the original castle that we found. It was Sylvan as well, wasn't it? There was Sylvan writing around, I think.
No, it reminded you of. It was like you weren't really able to read it. It wasn't that it was Sylvan, but like it reminded you, like the way that some of it was written, of like teleportation circles back to your own world. But it wasn't your world. But you got the sense that it took them someplace else.
She would relay all of the information that she remembered back to Colm, and just like quietly like sip on tea and maybe make some potions while make some healing pots while Moonin is disassembling and cleaning his firearms.
Okay.
I'll say Liz would probably be the only one that understands this, but Moonin is mumbling to himself in Norwegian, kind of quoting, "She always told me to do it this way," and just very, very diligently going through each piece of the firearms. Moonin is not listening whatsoever. He's in his own world right now.
Liz assumes that he's somewhat shell shocked, so she's just leaving him be and hoping that he gets out of it in a timely manner.
Right. Did anybody happen to take a rubbing?
A what?
You take a piece of paper and charcoal and you rub over. It's a rubbing, you know?
I don't think I'd use that wording, Colm.
Yeah, I just thought that you forgot that I was a woman, that I was a lady, and I was like, that's inappropriate.
A rubbing of... No, take a rubbing of...
We understand what you're saying, Colm. It's just, I don't think I've ever heard that wording used for it.
Really cocked that one up, haven't I?
No, we did not take any such measures.
Any rubbings?
Yeah.
You're not gonna say rubbing?
We didn't take any rubbings.
Liz is not her sister. No, we did not take any such pictures of that. We are, she points at Emerus, stealth, and she points at Moonin, pow pow, she points at herself, healing, and Gej takes most of our damage, tank.
Appropriate, I assume.
you were the smart one that, make sure that we get shit done.
I rather like that role. Thank you. Right. I've a few things to take care of before we go assaulting a ring that might take us elsewhere in the world. If anyone needs me, don't worry, I'll be safe.
As much as I'd like to let you go off on your own, the last time we let you go off on your own, I'm afraid you got captured. So, I am
Right.
afraid that we are going to be using buddy systems, and I will be accompanying you today home.
Good. And he takes and opens the accordion up, and you see him rifle through, and he gets to about the H's, and he reaches in, and he pulls out a crumpled-looking hat, and he kind of like flops it open, and he kind of puts it on his head, and as he does, he like puts it on his head, and it becomes like a dock worker stocking cap, and he becomes like this grizzled, middle-aged looking dock worker, complete with like, the legs are in a nice pair of like, well, not a nice pair, but in a pair of boots, and he's got suspenders on and a woolen shirt now.
You wouldn't happen to have a spare outfit in there, would you?
You should know by now. I keep myself well prepared. What sort of look do you want to go with?
I'll match you as best as I can.
All right. And again, he flips through, finds a similar looking outfit, woolen pants, woolen shirt, suspenders.
Perfect. I will move to change my appearance so that I'm not Emrys, I'm someone else. But, and then we'll gladly take the clothing and go change.
All right. So as you guys change out, give me just 1 second here. He heads out to the street and starts to make his way to the eastern part of town. Not quite where you were at before, but not too far from there. He seems to stop into just sort of a curio shop. He just starts just like looking at the different items and things like that. There's a woman at the back of the shop who stands up. You can tell she's, a little portly, older woman, probably in her, late 50s. There's something about her. And she's just kind of like looking, and you can see that this shop has all sorts of trinkets and books. And some of the books are well kept. You can see some of them are underneath glass and kept in protective areas. Treatises on certain magical spells and things like that, understanding potions and all that. As he walks in and starts walking down the aisles towards where the woman sits, you see him like pull his hat off, the disguise melting away back to what he was wearing. The woman smiles at him as she sees him. As I live and breathe. And he just kind of grins and tips his head and says, "Hello, mother. Home. You've made it home. Indeed." And as they have a reunion of sorts, introducing his friend Emrys, with plans to go and see the circle soon. That's actually what we're going to call it tonight. Until next week, we will be venturing forth into the circle, hopefully with our full regiment of players with us. I know it was a short stream, and that's okay, because sometimes what you need is a setup into the next one. So want to thank all of our players out tonight, especially want to thank Quentin, who is running all of our show this evening while our friend Otter is away visiting with family. Thanks for being here, Otter. I know that it can sometimes be a little tricky to do things from a remote situation, so we really appreciate you being here. And our friend Voodoo should be back next week. They are on vacay right now. And a huge thanks to Vixen for showing up this evening, as I know that sometimes life gets in the way as she is busy going through school and all sorts of other things. So a thank you to everybody who is watching. We will raid tonight, so stick around while we do that. Again, sorry for the late or for the short show this evening, but more setup for next time. And we will go into the circle. May the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by. Until next time, don't forget, Jason's back tomorrow with another World at War, the Scion campaign, and then we have Wednesday night with more D&D with Falskallen Knights. I keep wanting to get the two names backwards, but it's not. It's Falskallen Knights, not Varenheim. And then Thursday, A Knight's Ransom. Saturday, Stolen Cities. And then on Sundays, we are back with Varenheim. And then on Mondays, Troubleshooters again. We will see you all next week. Take care of yourselves. Love on one another. In the States, it is Veterans Day this Thursday. So thank you for all those veterans who served. We appreciate your service. Have a great night, guys. Take care.